What's up, guys?
It's Mundane Miracle Monday.
Yay.
Yay.
We're both wearing blue.
Oh, yeah. Look at that.
Did you say good thought?
No, I said look at that.
Good thought.
Good thought.
So how's your week been? What's the highs? What's the lows?
I think that one of my highs of the week was yesterday I was teaching Sunday school, and it was like it's the summer Sunday school, so like all of the age groups are combined into one big room, and then there are like multiple like leaders and one main teacher. And when the kids were coming in, we had like worship music playing, and then I don't know how it started, but the main leader, who's a mom, was like, she like went over to the computer and pulled up YouTube and put in church clap. And she was like, I'm going to teach y'all how to do the church clap. And I'm talking 5-year-olds and like up to, I don't know, maybe like 8. 8 was probably the oldest.
Oh my goodness.
And she was like, it's super easy. And I'm thinking, I can't do the church clap,
right?
But I'm not very coordinated. And it took me back to our White Lake days.
Good times.
And so she pulled it up and she taught the kids how to do church clap. Some of them really were getting it. Like,
kids have a better memory.
Yeah.
Like they can like see stuff one time and like redo it.
Yeah.
Not me.
Not me. I was just clapping along.
I would have to watch it in slow-mo to learn it.
I know. She tried to break it down.
I also don't really care to do the church clap.
I know. Yeah, it's a lot of jumping. But yeah, that was like so funny. And it was just, why did we do that? I don't know, but it was fun. Fun to watch.
Yeah, I bet.
My low was that one morning I came out. I always make the coffee the night before.
You know it's been a good week if this is your low.
And one morning I came out and I went to go get my coffee and it wasn't brewed. And I was like, what's going on? And I had forgotten to make it the night before. I had forgotten to set it up. So I had to make coffee all the way in the morning and wait for it to brew. It wasn't ready when I woke up.
First world problems.
Yep. What was your highs and lows?
My high was probably we went to the movies to see the Jesus movie that's fully in ASL.
Yeah.
And got to have some delicious popcorn. But
for $5.
Yeah. But it was just nice. It was a good movie. I'm glad that it exists now, and the fact that what's the percentage of deaf people that have not heard the gospel? Yeah,
so it's I believe the last time I looked at the stats, it was 6% of people, deaf people, have been presented with the gospel, and only 3% of the deaf community are Christians.
Yeah.
So it's a very, 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 very small percentage. It's truly like an unreached population. And that is so really heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And this was the first ever feature-length film to be shown in theaters, which is huge. But it's the first ever feature-length film
that's fully ASL.
That's completely ASL, yeah.
There's no talking. There's no, like, it's inclusive to deaf people instead of being like inclusive to hearing people to watch deaf people. It's like if you are deaf, you're not missing out on anything by watching it.
Yeah.
Because it's fully ASL. Mariah knows ASL. She's very good at it. I don't. Only like a couple basic things, but but they had subtitles obviously, so I was able to like read what was going on, and obviously I know somewhat by watching because I know the Bible stories.
Right.
But anyways, yeah, that was my high because it was just a good little experience. I'm glad that it exists. You should support it because more people need to know about it and know about Jesus. But yeah. And my low I don't know, I had one day where I was just like having such a bad like mental health day, and I don't normally have that. I don't know, it was just like I don't know, I felt like everything was dull. And yeah, it was weird. I didn't really know where it came from, but I just like couldn't shake it, and it made me like annoyed with everything around me. Like, I don't know, not just annoyed. It was weird. Like, honestly, it was probably just like a spiritual attack now that I'm thinking about it. But yeah, it was just like weird. It was a really weird day, and I didn't know what to do with it. So I think I just lashed out on the people around me.
That's sad.
Yeah. But it's over now, so.
That's a low.
Yeah. Anyways, so yeah, pretty good week. But you know, I'm so excited today because it is not going to be 95 degrees.
Yeah, it's actually so nice out. Right now it's 83.
Yeah.
And it's already
2
o'clock in the afternoon.
Wow. I love that because it's been way too hot. It's been way too sweaty.
It's been very sweaty.
Sticky. And like I didn't even want to lay by the pool anymore because I was just like, ugh, it's so hot. Like it's draining. Like,
yeah, because you're just laying there and then you're just dripping with sweat.
Yeah. I was like, normally I'm not the person that sits under the umbrella table, but I am now because I wanted to be out of the sun. I'm like, I got a little 10-minute tan and now it's time to go.
Yeah, and we've been taking a lot of walks, and it'll be so nice to take a walk tonight and not immediately come home and just be like soaking wet. It's disgusting.
Yeah. Well, speaking of highs and lows, what are some things you've learned this year so far? Like what is some things that 2024 has already taught you in just the short 6 months?
Great question. Thank you for asking. I feel like so much has happened this year in 2024.
Yeah.
Literally so much has happened. And honestly, that's the first thing that I've learned is that change happens so quickly. And I think, I mean, on a realistic level, I knew that. But to look back, like, even when we did our reflections episode a couple weeks ago, it was like so crazy to look back and see how much our lives have changed in the last 6 months. Yeah. Even in the last year. I mean, your life especially has been completely turned upside down in the last year. Yeah. And I'm sure a year ago you would have never expected that you would be living in Kentucky.
No.
Ever.
No.
I would have never thought that either. But here we are. And like, we would have never thought that we would have a podcast. We would have never thought that we would have gone viral on TikTok with over 5 million views. Like, it's just so crazy how quickly things can change. Mm-hmm. And like, yeah, I don't know. It's scary, but it's also encouraging because it's like, okay, well, nothing stays the same. So if you're in a bad season, just wait a little bit and it'll get better. And
in the moment, it feels like you will be stuck there forever. But and I'm not anymore.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I mean, life is full of ups and downs, and like there will always be another down. But just, I don't know, just hold on because things change. Yeah. And you never know what's going to happen. And trust in the Lord because like his plans are so much bigger and better than you could have ever imagined. And he'll sustain you through those bad times. And you can trust in him and like lean on him through those trials and get to know a side of him that you wouldn't have known without those trials. Yeah. So that your time together is even sweeter in the good times.
Yeah, that's so true. And it's like a good thing to look back on too and see like how much you actually do grow from those times in your faith, in your hope. Even at times that it might be a lot of doubt because of the situation, but that leads to more faith in the end. Like, I don't know, it's as long as you let the things you go through strengthen you, like in the moment, are you going to feel weak? 100%. But when you come out of it, if you gain something from it, strength, faith, hope, something on the other end, that's all that matters. And we wouldn't grow if it wasn't for the bad times. If it was always summer, we would not be longing for summer. We'd be longing for it to get a little cooler out.
Yeah.
When it's winter, we want it to be summer so bad.
Yeah.
Then it's summer. Oh, it's too hot.
Yeah.
Like, it's like the winter makes you appreciate the summer, and the summer makes you appreciate the winter.
Yeah.
And when you're in the middle of both of them, you don't see it. It's only when you come out of it. But if you never came out of it, you wouldn't have grown. You wouldn't have learned. You wouldn't have appreciation and the strength to know that you're going to get through it. Like, sometimes it's like, I hate winter, or this sucks. Like, but we're already in summer, and feels like yesterday we were just thinking, like, man, I can't wait for it to be summer. That's how fast it just goes around.
Yeah.
And we just got to find strength through it all.
Yeah. And also, like, I think that's a good reason if you're not like a journaler. I'm not really a journaler, but a way to look back on past experiences is like looking back through your camera roll and just seeing like where you were a week ago, a month ago, 6 months ago, and remembering God's faithfulness through the whole journey. And that's like the whole point of the Old Testament too, is that like it's a whole story of God's people having these like cycles of trusting in God and then falling away from God, and God redeeming them and drawing them back to himself. And how he like led them through and provided like a savior for us. And the only way that the Israelites could like get through those hard times was by remembering God's faithfulness. All the prophets were like delivering God's messages, and his messages were always, remember what I've brought you from. Remember what I've brought you through. That was the whole purpose of like all the feasts. It was like remembering the times when God saved them and brought them out of a hard situation. And that is like a really important thing for us, like to mark those seasons of, I don't know, just recognizing God's faithfulness and taking time to reflect and be like, okay, like I remember what you've brought me from, and that will bolster you and strengthen you in the midst of those hard times to get through and be like, okay, you didn't abandon me when this was happening. You didn't forsake me when this was happening. You're faithful. You're constant. And like just remembering those things will help you so much.
Yeah. I think just like how basically kind of what you're talking about, like change, but also how time goes so fast, and how like every day, every second, every minute, every hour counts, especially as we get older. And it's like there's so many times I have to tell myself, like, what are you doing? Like, time is precious. Like, do the things you want to do, put the work in for the things. Like, we can't just say, like, I don't know, we all have goals, we all have dreams, but do you really like want them to happen or not? Because time is everything.
Yeah.
And like if you waste time doing like even the movies, like I was talking to Mariah afterwards, and I was like I'm not complaining, but I just am saying like it's crazy how when you sit and watch a movie, how much time is just wasted. Like 3 hours went by just like that. It's literally a blink of an eye. And it's like, imagine how much you could be getting done that can actually do something for your life and produce something in that 3 hours. And I'm not saying I regret watching the movie. That's not what I'm saying. It's just crazy to see how fast 3 hours goes of just watching a movie.
Yeah, because when we came out of the theater, we were like, oh my gosh, I can't believe what time it is.
Yeah. I was like, there's no way it's been over 3 hours. And they were like, yeah, it has been. And that's just with anything, like sitting and scrolling away. We all do that. But it's like, wow, time is really flying. Us two are both getting closer to 30. And it's like, if you want something to happen in life, you need to take advantage of time, not let it take advantage of you, and you like waste away, and not ever do anything with it. And just like, I don't know, I think if everyone would collectively realize how important time is and how we really don't have a lot of it, it would actually like encourage you to like do more with it. And is there a time for rest? Yes, but even biblically, it was only one day out of the 7.
Yeah.
Not every day. You know, we as like, especially as Americans, but I think as like humans, we think we deserve rest after everything we do.
Yeah.
We think we deserve things. Like, what if we're doing the bare minimum though? Like, I don't know. I think we're used to working our lives away that we are like too exhausted to like do things, but also like the reward should be that now you use your time for something good, something you want to do, not, oh, I have to rest now because I worked. And it's like, but if your work wasn't towards what you want to do in the future, then now the rest isn't really, all the rest is doing is pushing you further and further away from your goals, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So there's time for rest, but also like time is fleeting.
Yeah.
And I think that's a very, very important thing that I have learned and that I try to keep in the back of my, or not the back of my mind, but like try to keep it in the front of my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a big one.
Yeah. And that's also like why it's important to look back at, I don't know, your goals and like how much you've accomplished, like what we were talking about in that episode in our mid-year checkup, like, because it's crazy that we just like we did a mid-year checkup already.
Yeah.
And to look back at those goals and see either how far we've come or if they haven't progressed at all. And like, it's kind of a wake-up call to be like, what have I been doing? Like, really?
Yeah. And if we like really like look back on how much time we spent on the things we want to do versus the things we just end up doing.
Yeah.
It's like, do you really want it? You know, like that's with anything. Like if you're going to college for some degree, but you're just like barely studying, you're cheating, you don't really want it because you're not putting in the work.
Mm-hmm.
You're just trying to let time pass. Same for anything. Like you want to be a business owner, but you just keep saying like, one day. Yeah. And one day you're going to be in the grave. We all are. Yeah. Seriously. And this is like something that I really had to learn recently. And yeah, and that's really with like anything, not just like jobs, but like family and friends. Yeah. Like you just have to find the silver lining in everything, because right now we don't have kids. We have so much time.
Right.
And that's why like moms will be like, oh, you're tired. Imagine having kids, whatever. And it's annoying when people say that, but it's also true. Like we should take more advantage of the time we have as young people with no kids. And then if you do have kids, you should still see that as a blessing too, because one day they're going to be adults and one day they're going to be living their own life, and childhood goes by so quick. Yeah. So like if you're a parent, learn to appreciate the time you have with your kids.
Right.
It's just like with everything, like time is so short. And if you talk to anyone in the ages of like 60, 70, they will tell you like they feel like they were just 20. Like
I feel like I was just 20.
Exactly, but that never ends.
Right.
That's the scary part, is that that's how much time can go by. Like we're already almost in 2025.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Which makes 2015 10
years
years ago. I graduated in 2015, which means I was 18 then.
Yeah.
I feel like I was 18 a few years ago.
Yeah.
So, yeah, time is so important.
Yeah. It's true.
That was a long one, but that's probably the most important one I have in mind. So I probably won't have much else after that. So you go ahead.
This actually can piggyback off of that. Something that I have learned very, very deeply is that God is the source of rest. And so like what you were saying about how we feel like we deserve rest after we do every single little thing. Like, oh, I went and got gas. Time for me to take a nap. But like you never feel fully rested if you're not spending time with God and you're not being filled up at the source.
Wow, that's a good word.
Thank you. I accidentally discovered that in therapy a few months ago because I was talking to my therapist about how I was feeling just like really burnt out and tired and like kind of lost and unanchored. And she just kind of sat back and she was like, so, how's your relationship with God been going? And I was like, oh, not great. And she was like, okay. And then we were just like talking about other things, and it was the Holy Spirit that like bubbled up inside of me. And I was talking to Katie and I was just like, yeah, we just have to remember that like God is the source of rest and peace and like all these different things. And she just looked at me like, mm-hmm. And I said, oh, I just figured out my problem, didn't I? And she was like, I think so. But that's so true. I never like, my days are so much better and so much like more centered and focused and productive and just so much better when I start my day off reading my Bible, having my prayer time. And like, obviously you can't always do that first thing in the morning, especially if you are a mom with little kids or whatever. That's, you have to make it work for your schedule and what your life looks like currently. But for me, I really don't have any excuse to not get up and do it in the morning because I don't start work until 9:00. So why am I not doing that every single morning? I really need to like, that is just something that if I know that it helps me, like, okay, we're going to talk about buoy again.
Third episode
about buoy. My hydration drops, which you can get for 20% off if you click the link in our link tree. I know that that's good for me. And I know that that makes me feel good. And so I have my buoy drops every single day. And it's always like, it's kind of like, I feel like an addict sometimes because I'm like, where are my drops? But like, I just know that it's helping me physically feel better. So if I know that my time with the Lord is what gives me rest, what gives me peace, what gives me focus and direction and all of these things, why do I not prioritize it first thing in the morning?
Yeah.
Like, a lot of times I do, but just this past week has been like a real struggle. I've been so tired in the mornings. But that's what got me last time. That's what got me like in the rut before, was that I was just too tired and I was just letting myself sleep in. And like, I don't know. I always feel better when I have my quiet time in the morning because God is the source of rest.
Yeah.
And so even when I'm tired, I know that it's going to be worth it. And I just have to like preach that to myself in the mornings when I just want to keep hitting the snooze button. Because also like if I can get up for Pilates, I can get up for the Lord.
Yeah. Because it's something you have to do.
Yes.
So it's like you have an appointment, but you also got an appointment with the Lord.
Exactly. And yeah, you just like have so much more direction, and it's nice to have those slow, peaceful mornings before you start your day and like get into all the chaos of working in the world. And like, I don't know, it's very beneficial.
That brings me to my next one. I love how they just like all
flow.
Domino.
That's a good way to put it.
We are in control of our feelings. We are in control of our bodies, of everything. Like, and I know this sounds simple, but it's really not. Like, whenever we are tired, we can literally tell ourselves, well, it's fine. Like, you don't have to go to sleep just because you're tired. Like, sometimes at night, I'm like, I'm tired. I want to lay down. I don't feel like editing the podcast. And I'm like, but who cares? Like, you will still get to sleep when it's time to sleep. And who cares that you are tired right now? You literally have the control to tell yourself, I'm going to stay up longer and I'm going to get over this feeling of being tired. Like, yes, you may still physically feel tired, but you don't have to be like the same way that when you feel angry, you don't have to go punch somebody. You don't have to follow your feelings. You can be in control of them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not just that's with everything. It's like, again, like a big excuse we all make in life is like, well, I don't feel like doing that, or I feel too tired for that. I don't know. It's just all about our feelings. We like follow our feelings so much. And it's like we forget that we're completely in control and we decide what we're going to do. We can decide that we're not going to, like, who cares that I don't feel like it? Like, do you want it or do you not?
Yeah.
You know, I think that's an excuse that everyone makes to ourselves, to each other. Like, if there's something important you need to do, or you're on a project with somebody, or like whatever it may be, and they're like, oh, I just like don't really feel like it. It's like,
okay,
oh, well, get over it. Like, truly, if you want to be a part of something, if you want to make something of yourself, make something of your life, you want to reach your goals, same thing. Like, they all our things bleed in together, because you cannot make a life as an adult if you are not willing to put your feelings aside and do the things you don't want to do things when you feel tired, do things when you feel, go do the opposite of what you feel. Like, when you feel angry, you have to choose to still be kind to people around you. When you feel like whatever, it's all going to be hard, because our human mind would literally rather us just freaking lay in bed all day. Like, if we were going to follow what our feelings wanted to do, we wouldn't be showing up for work.
Right.
We would be like, well, I don't feel like going to work. But you have to, though, because you keep getting strikes and you're going to get fired from your job. But I don't know. It's just, we're in control of our feelings. We need to take control of our feelings more. Yeah,
my friend Laura, our friend Laura, I've said this on the podcast before, but something that she has told me in the past is your feelings are valid. Like, you are feeling those feelings, but your feelings don't always tell you the truth. And I think that's like so important to keep in mind, because I mean, even with like married couples, I've heard so many married couples say like it's normal and like expected that you'll have like a crush on somebody else when you're married, but like you have to take control of that. Like, you might be attracted to somebody else, but you have to like, you can't just act on it because you are like married to another person. And I think that some people forget that. I know that some people forget that. Like, you don't have to give in to every single feeling. Like, your feelings are valid. This is something that you are experiencing in your body. Your brain and your like nervous system is reacting to something, but that doesn't mean that it's true. And you have to be able to like tell yourself the truth and get over that feeling. I think that's a good one.
Do you have any more?
Well, you're gonna laugh at my last one, but it's something that I learned in 2024, and it's very important to me. And that is to stay hydrated. I am not a hydrated girl. I mean, I drink a lot of water, and I did drink a lot of water before this realization, but I did not realize how important electrolytes are.
I thought you were going to say buoy drops.
No, just electrolytes in general. Like, my life really got flipped upside down in, when was that, February?
I don't even know.
I don't know. It was
March.
I think it was
February,
March. Yeah, I think it was March. Because it was right after we moved into this apartment, and I ended up in the ER. And that was like really scary, but it was because I didn't have electrolytes, because the water that I was drinking didn't have enough electrolytes and sodium. So that has like genuinely changed my life. So it's important. And also like people, even though, okay, I have like POTS, which is, I need more than the average person, but like, if you're, especially in the summertime, if you're sweating, you're losing your electrolytes. And you need to be replenishing that. And like regular table salt doesn't have what you need. So it's important to like pay attention to that so that you don't make yourself sick.
That's good. I'm also learning that too, because I feel like drinking water sometimes feels like a chore almost, where it's like you're telling yourself you need to do it, so it's hard to do it. But if you were just like casually, and I'm not someone who really drinks soda or anything. Like, all I drink when I'm at home is pretty much water.
Yeah.
So it's not that I don't drink it, but it's just like I know I need to drink more.
Mm-hmm.
And so I literally have to tell myself sometimes when I'm out working, you have to finish this water before you get home and then refill it up. Just because it is kind of like a task. And I don't know, I think that's a part of like having ADHD, like when stuff is like, feels like a task, like you don't want to do it. I don't know. But, or it's just harder to focus on doing it. But yeah.
Yeah. And that's part of the reason that I got you a water bottle for your birthday.
Yeah, and that has definitely saved my life.
Yep.
Well, we did talk about our highs, but what was your mundane miracle of the week?
I think my mundane miracle... Oh, I have a perfect one. I went to the dentist for the first time in 5 years. Because I need to get my wisdom teeth out. They're very painful, and I needed a consult so that I could get a referral to an oral surgeon. So I went for cleaning and to get x-rays and everything. And I didn't have a single cavity. And the hygienist and the dentist both said, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe it's been 5 years since you've had a cleaning. You would never know." And I said, "Thank you. I take my oral health very seriously. And I do try to keep my teeth very clean." So what a blessing. I was a little bit scared going in that I would have a cavity. But no cavities, no gum disease, nothing.
Thank God.
Praise the Lord. What was yours?
So we get home from grocery shopping, planning on cooking this amazing meal, and there's a bunch of food at our door. There's like boxes of pizza, like bags, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a blessed day. There's no way they delivered this to the wrong apartment. So yeah, I looked at the receipt thing and it was our address. It was just a different name. So it's not like it was the people across the street, like the people across the hall, because it was not their name and not their apartment number. So I know it wasn't like meant to go to them across from us. And we don't know who this person is. So free food. So we brought it in and it was like pizza and cheese sticks and lasagna and salad.
It was so much food.
$70-something worth of food. Yeah, so it was just a little blessing to get some free food. And obviously Mariah couldn't have any of it because they didn't order anything vegan. That's not normally, that's be a hard thing to get lucky about, I think, at a pizza place like that. But yeah, there was salad, but there was cheese, so yeah, I felt bad. I was like, you can't have anything, but you can pick the lettuce out.
It's a miracle for a mundane day that completely turned your whole day around.
Yeah, so now I have groceries and pizza and cheese sticks.
And lasagna.
Yeah. But yeah.
That was crazy.
Thanks for listening, guys.
See you next week.
Peace.